do you show that you are a fan of something? How do you show that you're a fan of something? Maybe you just wear the team brand or the logo on your shirt or something like that. Maybe you quote the thing. If you're a fan of the movie, you're quoting the movie all the time. Like Chicken Jockey. You know how many times I've heard it? You know how many I Am Steves I've heard? Bro, it's insane. Maybe if you're a fan of something, you post about it on social media or whatever, like you're giving updates. I had a friend recently who was posting like draft day because it's NFL draft going on right now. And yeah, Shedeur going to the Browns. What in the world? Anyway, what are the ways that people know you're a fan of something? Like if I asked your best friend what you are obsessed with, what are your likes, what are your interests, would they be able to tell me? Yeah, probably, because you won't shut up about it. You're talking about it all the time. Maybe it's that cute little boy. For example, I'll just give you one of mine, okay? Like, you see me in this shirt right now, right? This Ian Munsick. Are you kidding me? Who's that? Who's Ian Munsick? What's wrong with you people? He's an icon. I'm wearing this shirt so you know I'm a fan, right? You know I love me some freaking Ian Munsick, right? I'll let you think about it, okay? Let me move. You can't tell? How do people know that you're a follower of Jesus? How do people know you're a follower of Jesus? Do you wear that brand, that logo? Do you post about that on your social media? Do you talk about that incessantly, your relationship with him? Maybe you wear a little cross around your neck? You've seen that, right? You wear a little cross around your neck, people will be like, person must be a Christian. Maybe you try really hard not to cuss as much, and you fail. It's my guy. Maybe nobody knows they're a Christian at all. We've been talking about the death, burial, and resurrection of Jesus, which is the most epic comeback story of all time in our series called The Comeback Kid. There was a follower of Jesus, you might even call him a fan, named Matthew, who wrote down everything that Jesus said. And he recorded in his gospel, chapter 16, verse 24, some words that Jesus said that I think are going to give us some insight. So he says, if any of you wants to be my follower, you must give up your own way, take up your cross, and follow me. This is one of the ways that people are going to tell that you are a Christian, that you're a fan of Jesus, is by taking up your cross and following him. Now, obviously, this is a metaphor. It's not talking about literally putting a cross on your back, hauling it up a hill so that you can be nailed to it and die. I mean, I hope not. It's a metaphor, and he says it kind of in the verse beforehand. You got to give up your own way. Jesus didn't want to do that. He's like, Father, if it be your will, can you take this from me? I don't want to have to go through this, but not my will, but your will be done. He's like, it's not going to be my way. It's going to be your way, and I'm willing to live for that. And for him, it looked like the cross. What does it look like for you? In essence, Jesus is saying this is like step one of letting people know. All right? Following Jesus means being someone who's willing to put aside your own way in order to choose his way. And that's hard. A couple of weeks ago, we talked about how Jesus washed his friends' feet. Nasty. This was actually the job of a servant, typically, because people walked around. There was no cars back then, bro. There wasn't paved roads either. They were walking around in the dirt, in the thorns and thistles, in all the dookie and everything like that, and all the nasty water, and then the stomping around, sludging on, get up in between their toes. They didn't even have no toenail clippers, y'all. It was getting all up, crusted up in there. You got the calluses, the corns, the bunions, the funyuns, all that. And then they walk into somebody's house, and they're like, you ain't bringing that up in my house. So they had someone with a bucket of water and a little towel by the door, and they would wash the feet before they came in the house. Yeah, kind of like how we take off our shoes now before we walk into somebody else's house, same thing. So Jesus did that for his friends, even Judas, who he knew would betray him. And this is Jesus, by the way, the creator and sustainer of the world, the one who was God and man in human form, perfect. in every way. And if he isn't too good to serve like that, you're not either. I'm not either. No one's above it. Step number 2, ways to get people to know, Jesus laid his life down before he went to the cross. You got to lay your life down. That's what it looks like. It looks like putting the needs of others before yourself, because he calls us to do the same. In John chapter 13, we're just going to be up in the scriptures. We're going to spend the most time in Acts chapter 2. So if you want to go ahead and flip there right now or get there in your Bible app, Acts chapter 2. But right now, John 13, he says this, and since I, this is Jesus talking, your Lord and teacher have washed your feet, you ought to wash each other's feet, metaphorically speaking. I have given you an example to follow. Do as I have done to you. That's one of the ways people are going to know we're different. That's one of the ways people are going to know. So at school, do you look like everybody else? Metaphorically speaking. Are your words and actions resemblant of everybody else of the world, or are they looking like something out of this world? Natural or supernatural? You or Jesus? Like I said, last week we celebrated the resurrection of Jesus. He was arrested, betrayed, convicted, innocently crucified, and buried. He rose again. And the gospel writer, Luke, Matthew, Mark, Luke, same guy, wrote this book called Acts also. And this is sort of our playbook for so what? What to do now? How do we live now on the other side of this resurrection? With that in mind, all of the teachings of Jesus, and then him proving and validating that he really was who he says he was, what does this mean for us moving forward into the modern day? I mean, this takes it all the way up to right here, right now. And in Acts chapter 2, verse 42, Luke writes this, describing early Jesus followers. And pay attention. He says, all believers, that's us, that's you in this room if you believe, all believers devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, to the fellowship or the gathering together, like what we're doing when we're singing or we're fellowshipping together. They were devoted to this thing, like they didn't miss. To the teachings, the Bible, right? The fellowship, to the sharing of meals, including the Lord's Supper, and to prayer. A deep sense of awe came over them all, and the apostles performed many miraculous signs and wonders. I don't know about you, I've seen miraculous things happen in my life that I can attribute only to God, only because I've been devoted to these things, to teaching, to fellowship, to praising, to worshiping, to prayer, to God's word. And he says, all the believers met together in one place, and they shared everything they had. That's nice. They sold their property and possessions, and they shared the money with those in need. Take these verses. We're actually going to go all the way through verse 47. Write them down, memorize them, underline them, highlight them, whatever you've got to do to get these words in your brain like permanently. This picture of what it looks like to follow Jesus. Okay? I mean, look at it. Devotion to his word, to gathering, eating together, just gathering together, enjoying each other's company, sharing everything they had, serving like Jesus did. People of diverse backgrounds, people from all over the place. It was undeniable, y'all. People on the outside looking in couldn't help but say, what do they have? What is going on there? I have to know. I have to be a part of it. These people are so different. They're so extraordinary. Something obviously good is happening in that place, so much so that I gotta go see. Like a moth to a flame, people wanted to be a part of this community of love and acceptance and sacrifice because it's so countercultural. It's crazy. Continuing on, verse 46, they worshiped together at the temple each day. They met in homes for the Lord's Supper, and they shared meals with great joy and generosity, all while praising God and enjoying the goodwill of all people. And each day, the Lord added daily to the number of those who were being saved. That's what it looks like. Like God adding to that number daily. He's just like bringing them in droves. Does this sound like the church today? Does this sound like even our youth group, bro? It can. You want to know how? You're how. You're how? By living for Jesus in your everyday, by having this relationship with him that is so fascinating, that incites such curiosity, that is so interesting and loving and sacrificial that people say, I have to know why you are the way you are. I have to know this Jesus that you say you serve. I have to know this one that you are a fan of because he's changed your life and it's obvious and it's consistent and it's good and it's true. We've got to back up our words with actions, and this is how we live. The bottom line for this morning is living for Jesus means living like Jesus. And this is the call post-resurrection into the modern day. Living for Jesus, it means living like him. If you want to know how he lived, look at his life. Look at the Gospels. Look at how he served others, how he loved others unconditionally, how he accepted others, even when they felt like they were not loved and not accepted and rejected and judged. Look at how he brought justice. That's who he is. That's how we are to be as well. And I'm going to say this too, like, it's going to be really hard to live for him if you don't know how to live like him. If you don't know how he lived, it's hard to do something you don't know, right? You got to get into his word. And this takes effort. You got to pray, and that takes effort. You got to come consistently, and that takes effort. It might even take saying no to some other things that you want to do. It's work, but it's worthy, and it will change your life. I promise you. I am a product of this. My wife, my kids, my family, my friends. Like, I'm not perfect. I don't do it perfectly, obviously, but we all try. And I think, man, I don't know where I'd be without it. Now, in the vein of honesty, I have a confession to make. I've never been to an Ian Munsick concert. In fact, I don't even know who he is. I've never even heard an Ian Munsick song that I'm aware of. I mean, maybe I have, but I don't know. And I'm sorry, Ian, I'm sure you're great. I don't know. I doubt you're watching, but. Why do I have to share? I'll explain. So my younger brother is a merchandise manager for a country music artist, and he's always out on tour. And one of the things he does for me as a gesture of love and kindness is he'll get a shirt from some of the artists that he is supporting, and he'll mail them home for me, or he'll just bring me a whole bundle of shirts from these artists while he's on tour. And then he gives them to me as a gift to say, look, bro, like, I'm thinking about you while I'm out on tour. I love you. Have some free swag. So I just have a bunch of t-shirts from bands and artists that I've never even been to the concert for. But I use this as almost like a conversation starter to tell people about Jesus. How do you do that? Because this is my way of being a fan of Jesus and like wearing it. It's just more discreet, okay? Because it looks like Ian Munsick, but really what it is whenever someone says, "Oh, Ian Munsick? You listen to Ian Munsick, bro?" I say, no, I've never heard of him. But you know who I do listen to and who I have heard of? Jesus. Do you? Do you know him? And then we start that conversation right then and there. The old bait and switch. I love it. That's how I roll. Bam. I see you at church next Sunday. That's how it goes. No, I'm just kidding. But I'm telling you guys, like, y'all can incorporate Jesus into every aspect of your life. Be creative with it. Have fun with it. Do what works for you, where you're at. My encouragement as I finish up this morning is love people selflessly. This is kind of the summary of the series, right? Serve others and don't discriminate. Encourage people. If you think something good, say it. If someone pops into your brain, you're like, man, I wonder how they're doing. Just text them and ask real quick. Yo, thinking about you. Hope everything's well. It's simple. Stand up for injustice, maybe even in a small way. It matters. Big things are made up of a bunch of small things. You can make a difference. Bring hope, bring peace, bring kindness into every situation, even when it's difficult. Do your best, like in every aspect of life, because you represent Jesus everywhere you go, with your words and with your actions. Treat other people with integrity and respect. Let others go first. Open the door for people. Hold it. Smile. Be nice. Let other people get the glory. It's okay. Humble, be generous. Even when you don't have much, you're like, I don't have much. You got some time, you got something, you got words. Use what you have and be generous with it. Talk about Jesus. Let his name be on your tongue. Be honest with your struggles. Be open, transparent, vulnerable, honest with people who trustworthy people that God has put in your life. Show the world that Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection meant something then, and it means something now. Go be living proof. And remember, living for Jesus equals living like Jesus. Can you do it?